Hola, amigos. Buenos dias. And welcome to Rising Spanish Edition, I guess. I don't know why I did that. But,
I liked it.
Popped into my mind.
I'll take it. So how you doing today?
I'm doing just fine. It's kind of a gray day in the nation's capital, which, because of our studio setup, you all can't see it. There's windows behind us. When it's like overcast outside, it's much darker in here.
I like sunshine and rainbows. You know that's my personality. So I'm sure you're basking in this.
Person.
I'm sure you're basking in this overcast. Or do you not like overcast?
I enjoy the darkness.
Here we go. Okay, so coming up on Rising, I'm going to be talking about Vice President J.D. Vance and the several vacations he's taken so far.
Several?
Yes.
We will also be discussing Tulsi Gabbard pulling dozens of security clearances from Intel officials.
And former chair of Paramount Global, Sherry Redstone, is speaking out on why she decided to sell the company and Trump's lawsuit against CBS News. But first, of course, we have Robby's radar. So what is on your radar today?
Well, here's something you don't see every day. President Donald Trump's foreign policy is getting high marks from an unusual grader, Hilary Clinton. Indeed, the former First Lady, Secretary of State, and Democratic presidential candidate is typically no fan of the Donald. She's called him an illegitimate president, a threat to our democracy, a Russian stooge, and every other smear in the book. But even Clinton admits Trump is doing a pretty good job strengthening the U.S. relationship with European allies while getting more out of them in terms of NATO defense and also their financial contributions. Watch Clinton speaking with liberal Fox News commentator Jessica Tarlov.
I actually was encouraged by the events of the last several months. First of all, the NATO commitment by individual member states to increase their defense spending is very welcome. It's something that prior administrations have certainly sought, and I think it's great that we are seeing these commitments that now have to be followed through on.
Hilary went on to mention that she thinks there's a noticeable difference between now and between Trump's first term as president.
There is beginning to be a better understanding, both by the president and the people around him, as well as by the leaders of our European allies, that there can be common ground amongst us. And the kind of dismissiveness that we saw in the first Trump administration has been replaced by a much more obvious working relationship to the good of European security, transatlantic security, and hopefully Ukrainian security.
Well, now, that is high praise from a Democratic political figure who previously accused Trump of being totally beholden to Vladimir Putin and Russia and of working to subvert the NATO alliance and of being an isolationist, all notions that are, by the way, explicitly disproven by Trump's diplomatic efforts to engage the West in the project of mediating peace between Russia and Ukraine. And actually, it's not just Russia and Ukraine. Trump is working to achieve peace all over the globe, something that has attracted the notice of moderate liberal commentator Bill Maher. Let's watch.
It's funny, I see that today is the anniversary of Woodstock. This is 56 years ago. And the hippies, what did they hate more than anything else? War. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. So if you're the kind of person who says, you know, you can find some good in anybody, this would be the good in Donald Trump. He really does not like war. Thailand and Cambodia were having firing at each other. Rwanda and the Congo. Most people don't even know about these. India and Pakistan, Armenia, Azerbaijan. He got involved in all of them.
All we are saying is give peace a chance. That's what I believe in. It's what Donald Trump seems to believe in, and it's what America First really means. And that's key. War should be a last resort. Diplomacy can accomplish more than sanctions or airstrikes or, God forbid, boots on the ground. Letting countries trade with each other and benefit from each other's resources is a surer way to get our allies and our enemies to serve our interests than twisting their arms with brute force. We don't need to ask the American people to send their hard-earned tax dollars overseas in some naive hope that it will make foreign peoples friendlier to us, nor should we bomb them into somehow loving America. Neither of those strategies, liberal interventionism on one hand, neoconservatism on the other, has worked for us. What does work for us is libertarianism, or you can call it military non-interventionism, or foreign policy populism, or just call it America First, whatever you want. It's what the people believe is good. It's what they're currently getting. And even Hillary Clinton has to admit it's sort of working. Even Hillary.
When I read this headline, I was like, wait, excuse me? Let me comb through this and watch this full interview. So, look, she did say that he if he accomplishes it in a way that she thinks is appropriate, and I think the world and Zelensky in Europe thinks is appropriate, meaning not giving over any stolen land that was not won in the Cold War, like not doing any of that stuff, which she explained. And Trump doesn't seem like he has any intention on actually making a deal that is, to the benefit of our European allies or Ukraine. It seems like he's like, Russia's in a position of power, and so we're going to make it happen on Russia's terms. Kind of like what you said, they're the aggressor, they have the power, unfortunately, like it or not, here's where we are. That doesn't technically make, to me, a Nobel Peace Prize winner. That just creates somebody who said, stop the fighting, give Russia what they want, let's call it an end of the day. And, there's a lot of conversation about how serious this is to our European allies. Like, okay, Russia's not going to continue to invade other locations, but there's an actual concern from other leaders. Some of them are more defiant and speak up more, like Macron in France. Some of them are quieter, but a lot of them share the sentiments elsewhere within their own congregation that they feel that Russia can easily continue to, infiltrate and try to move forward and go back to the idea of being a stronger superpower and more like the Soviet Union, which is obviously the ultimate goal based on several things that Vladimir Putin has said over the last few decades. It's an intention not to stop. And so if you think he's just going to stop at Ukraine and we're going to say, oh, handshake deal, I don't know that that's going to work. And especially if you saw overnight that he's still bombing Ukraine, which is why a ceasefire was supposed to be imminent and would have been the first part of why I might have said, yes, President Trump maybe he should get a Nobel Peace Prize if he can get at least a ceasefire. We didn't get that. And so people are still being killed in Ukraine. Bombings just happened overnight. And I don't know that this is the peace route that anybody wanted aside from Putin.
So there's a couple things you said there.
Okay, let's start from the top.
I don't think, it's not about giving Putin Ukraine or conquered territories. Putin has taken those territories. So they're not ours to give. They belong to Ukraine. They don't belong to the U.S. or the rest of Europe. They were taken from Ukraine, and Putin has them now. So it's not about letting him have them. He has them. It's, can we do anything to get them back? And the answer to that is no. No one has proposed a plan. Even the most hawkish pro-Ukrainian voices have no plan to recover the stolen territories. So there's no actual argument here. No one is proposing get back the stolen territories because there's no way to do that. Short of invading Russia with a full army.
Which is off the table.
If it's off the table, Europe, up until now, their behavior does not suggest to me a fear that Russia is going to start invading the rest of Europe, because they were letting us pay for half of this whole Ukraine. Like, they could spend more money. They could send troops. They're not doing any of that, which suggests to me they're not actually worried that a new Soviet Union is going to start. And actually, the Soviet Union.
I think that's a little unfair. I don't think that anyone in Europe wants to get into a war with Russia either the same way that Russia doesn't want to get into a war with the U.S., the same way that the U.S. does not want to get into a war with Russia.
A bunch of people not want to get into a war, and that's why we're all sitting down trying to quit.
Right, but that's why things like even the idea proposed about economic sanctions that had the hard deadline of August 8th is still a legitimate way to say, Putin, if you're serious about peace, you have to accept some of our terms. Even the lowest term would just be a ceasefire. Just pause bombing Ukraine. Like, try the night before we meet in Alaska. Trump could have said that. He bombed them that night. He's bombing them last night. He's been bombarding Ukraine nonstop, even though he just came off the conversation.
Thou art sanctioned.
No, it's not. It's not some proposal. It will ultimately cause grief to people that don't want, the world is experiencing inflation. The world is experiencing, lower incomes. The world is experiencing, hard times. It's not just the U.S. And so Russia and the people of Russia are put in predicaments that affect their wallet and their pocketbook. What's the first way to get people to react? Take away some of their money or cause any type of stress to them. I don't think that Putin wants that for everybody there. I don't think that Russian people want that. And I think that's a start to get him to react, because right now he's not doing anything we want him to do. A ceasefire was the smallest thing and imminent to all those European leaders. And
Lindsay,
so that...
Give peace a chance. All we're saying, give peace a chance. Trump is channeling those 60s hippies and just loves peace, man.
I'm not buying it. Protecting national security, or is it a political move? How the national intelligence community is reacting to this round of security clearances being revoked. That's coming up right after the break. Stay with us.